I think the market is in a very, very difficult situation. And at the same time, I think it might be time for considering buying some shitcoins. So let's go over what I'm seeing, the two scenarios we're going to look into, the bearish and the bullish, and why is it so difficult to pretty much make decisions right now? Because there are, I think, great arguments to be made for the bullish and for the bearish side, and it's not very clear which one is going to play out. And I would say we just need very, very good plans, which I'm trying to provide you with, guys, and pretty much act as the price action develops on Bitcoin and, of course, on the legacy markets. So let's first start with Bitcoin. We had a really, really nice few weeks. Actually, this is the 5th week in a row that we're going to close in green. And this one is a biggie until now. It's Friday right now, and it's like pretty much 10% up Bitcoin on the week. And as you can see, the trend has accelerated quite a bit. And on the weekly, we're pretty much at all-time high territory. I mean, if we close somewhere around this area on the weekly, we're pretty much at all-time highs, which is insane. Just a few weeks ago, we were extremely bearish and things are looking like they're going to break down with all the tariffs and stuff that was going on. And now we're pretty much back at all-time high. And yet this is also the perfect place. If this is just a relief rally, this is still the perfect place for price to get rejected and just go even further down. However, it's also the perfect storm for potential altcoin season or whatever you want to call it. So let's just look over the scenarios. And I'm going to start with the more bearish one first. Well, what I'm looking here what I've been patiently waiting for and we haven't really gotten is a correction of this leg up. And whenever we get it and whatever it happens, I said before that it's a must buy for anyone that doesn't have a position or wants to get more exposure. It's a must buy because this could be the higher low before the continuation leg higher. However, this could not play out as such. We could, and this is, let's say, the left side of the bearish scenario, we could chop around in this area for the next few months, and then as the macro situation develops, we might get negative catalysts and then potentially a leg lower. So something like this. Everybody gets euphoric here. Everybody starts buying meme coins. And suddenly nothing really happens with the price. We don't have that many catalysts. Maybe some bad news on the tariffs front. Maybe we start seeing the real effects of the tariffs, like people buying less stuff, prices still remaining high, inflation still high. And then potentially, we see the leg down, but it's muted one. And as people start to get depressed because they've been waiting for a bull market for months now, and it hasn't really played out in here, and really quickly as prices goes down, we start getting a lot bearish and then maybe potentially go for a new low or at least tag the 80k area, and then whoever knows what's going to happen. Depends if we get a real recession or a shallower recession or whatever. I think this is quite plausible. Or the other option is something just suddenly breaks, nobody expects it, and we get this retracement that I said we could get at some point, and then maybe the pop is not that strong, we don't go attacking the all-time highs, and then again go for another leg lower. I think this is also quite possible in the coming months, and there are a few reasons for this. First of all, we're gonna go to the S&P here for a moment, but pretty much this is still in a clear broken structure territory. We pretty much have had higher highs, higher lows for forever, and then pretty much we broke structure. I would say even here, we started breaking structure here on the weekly, and now we pretty much made a new low. And after all the positive news surrounding the tariff talks and so on, now we're back at this level, which I think will be quite significant resistance, at least in the short term. And maybe we get the correction somewhere around here, aligning with the crypto correction. And then who the hell knows what happens from here. But again, we could go much lower. And what could cause this is, first of all, this week's Fed meeting was quite, I would say, hawkish. We didn't see any positive news from them. Like, they're sticking to the rates. They don't foresee any cuts for now. And pretty much it seems like they're in this wait and see mode. They mentioned that the tariffs, are obviously a big overhang, and they don't know what's going to happen there. So we have this kind of a perfect storm for this rally to trap a lot of people and say, oh, we're also back, we're going to infinity. And then slowly we see that the GDP numbers are bad next quarter, and all these things on the macro side. And just purely from TA perspective, it just makes sense for us to correct here. But what happens and how long this correction will take, it's really difficult to know. But I think this is in the cards for the bearish case, and I think you should be prepared. Like, if you were keen on selling Bitcoin at 90, 95k when we were at 80, now here at pretty much all-time high, I think you should consider offloading if you believe the scenario that I just presented to you is quite possible to play out. And in general, how to play this, I'm personally looking for an entry here on at least short-term short or a hedge on my Bitcoin. Because I think it just makes sense for us to at least have some leg down. It doesn't matter we're going to zero, but even on the less bearish case, I think it makes sense to have a correction somewhere. And it might form here. We might have another push higher. So technically, I was looking first at, maybe we make a push here into these highs, like 96, when this was the day of the Fed meeting. And maybe we run the highs here around 97 and then go for a correction. But now, obviously, this hasn't played out. So now the next level was 100k. We slashed through it quite quickly. It seems like there were a lot of stop hunting here in this area. And we're back at all-time highs. So any weakness in here, I think, again, it's potential for a leg lower to somewhere around here. So I'm looking to position potentially for a short. But again, this won't be the major move to anticipate, at least for now. It could play out as if the bearish scenario really plays out to the downside, this could be the best absolute entry for a long-term short that we go potentially much lower. And I wouldn't discard this as an opportunity, but for now I'm treating it more of just a separate setup if it presents itself, and probably taking some profits in this area around here, around 92, 93, 94. Okay, that's the bearish side. Obviously, on the bearish side, I think all the altcoins will eat shit. So maybe if you want to short, you could find better opportunities there, potentially. I think there will be a lot of opportunities at some point for this on the outside. But this is just basically the bearish case. Now, on the bullish side, things are starting to look very, very interesting. Now we're obviously quite euphoric and everybody's we're so back and so on, so on, so on. However, at the same time, there are many, many people that are mispositioned, including myself. I don't have the amount of exposure that I would originally have overall. I'm still at a relatively low exposure. I have primarily Bitcoin and I have some hype. Pretty much at break even here and at these prices. So I do have exposure, I'm not FOMOing into the market, but it's not the full amount of exposure that I wanted ideally to have here on a few missed setups. So now I'm looking for opportunities to enter. But why am I saying this and keep repeating it? Because there are a lot of people like me, they thought that maybe this is the end of it, we're in a bear market already, and so on, so on, so on. And these people will be looking to position, and I'm pretty sure a lot of them have positioned somewhere in this area. And what has classified this area on Bitcoin and on pretty much in every market, there have been two things. One thing was that pullbacks have been very shallow, like here. No pullback pretty much, just consolidation sideways here as well. And this is like very typical in a strong trend, and we have seen this currently on Bitcoin. But also, and this is where the big problem I think comes for both the bull and the bear market strategies, is that Trump has been, as always, like pretty vocal and pretty much moving the markets. Like any positive news, like we had any negative news here concerning the tariffs, now any positive news are affecting the market very significantly, even on the day of the Fed meeting right here. I want to show you this because it was amazing to watch. So Fed comes out and it's very hawkish. And it looks like we might get a short-term pullback here around 97. So we ran the high, consolidating below it. And suddenly Trump comes out and he's like, oh, we have a deal with the UK on the tariff side. You better go buy stocks now. I'm like, he's posting trade signals now on his freaking Twitter, which is insane. It's just, I don't even know what to make of it anymore. And that's what happens, pretty much last time he did it, he announced that they're relieving the tariffs for like 90 days. He did it again here, and people this time didn't fade it. And just obviously we ran through like 100K very easily. So like OTA goes out the window and you have Trump posting stuff like this. However, this could take some time to play out, obviously. But that's why I'm saying, I'm sorry for overlapping, but the neighbors are fucking renovating or I don't know what, and they're drilling all day, so I'm sorry for losing my train of thought a little bit here. Okay, so back to the bullish scenario. So any pullback, I think, is a must buy, and my original target was buying somewhere around here, around 90K area. So this is, I think we won't, or if we do, it will be very optimistic around 88K, and if you're just waiting for it, you might get left out. But anywhere like in this entire zone, I think could be a good buying opportunity for several reasons. So first of all, just using like a FIB retracement, somewhere in here lies the 0.5, 0.6 retracement. And we have obviously, like I was discussing before, we had a lot of resistances on top, but now we have a lot of support around 100K, around this cluster, around 95K, and of course 90K as the primary target. So any pullbacks into this zone, I believe, are a must buy for potential, higher low and all-time highs, maybe somewhere in the summer. And you gotta be like, I think this is the absolute most important time to be really flexible and not have your bull or bear goggles on, because if this doesn't play out, like if we get here but the pullback is not stopping of going down, and we don't get the the continuation to the upside, and we see weakness here, I think then we will definitely go much lower. So I think if you're buying here, you gotta have very clear risk defined and potential stop zone. It could be 90K or below 90K. It could be around this area, around 84 maybe potentially as a cluster. This will represent itself when the price action happens and when we see it. But you need to be very strict, because what very often happens is that we get the pullback and everybody's like, oh, we're going higher, we're bullish, and suddenly we're not bullish. Price still goes down. Prime example of this is like right here. Like check this out. So we had obviously the consolidation and the pullback here. Then we had a push to the all-time high, but not quite exactly. So pretty much exactly the same area we are right now. Then everybody got super bullish. They bought the dip, but obviously it kept dipping and dipping and dipping to like 50K from like 60. If you started buying even here, you ate shit after that. A lot of shit, like 10-15% shit. And then obviously we bounced, but again, this was a higher low. Lower high here. And then again, we eat shit. Yes, long term this went up, but in the short term or medium term, you ate a lot of shit. So be prepared for this, because I don't think it's generally not possible for this to happen, obviously, if the bear case that we discussed plays out. So be very, very, very strict with your managing, and don't cloud your judgment with super bullishness just because you went back to 100K. It's been driven mainly by Trump, and because this needed a relief rally after the lake lower we've had for so much longer. So this will correct at some point, but the question is it going to pass? But definitely a must-buy zone for anyone that is mispositioned right now. And obviously we're looking for continuation. I don't think it's guaranteed also that, like, if we get into this, to get back to above all-time high. Yes, this will be the scenario, this will be the plan, the trade, but again, we need to look for areas like if we don't make a new high here after the retracement into the all-time high zone, this could also be a sign of weakness. Like pretty much we had here. We made an all-time high, but we showed weakness afterwards. And since this could time with potential, recession, with Fed not cutting again, so there are a lot of things that could play out that could potentially give us this fake out breakout. But again, it's a must buy in my opinion, and I think we should just bid this. What could happen, and what I could also see myself buying, is this area right here, because now that the further away we're getting from 90K, the lesser the probability that we might get to 90K. So I would say this is also quite plausible, and what I'll be looking for also to position myself here, if we get into here, we could probably see a 1 or 2 days of violent selling into this area and wicks into this area like 90, 92K maybe, and then reclaim, and then potentially something like this. So this could also be a very, very high probability trade that I will be willing to bid. And depending on the price action, you might be, and again, back to the flexibility part, if you see this breaking down, it might not be a terrible idea to like risk off with the potential to buy a little bit lower or buy back again when you have more clarity. So be prepared to, like, if you're buying this, just to be strict on the risk management side and potentially add lower, maybe DCA with different sizes if we go lower, and maybe add back more if you see the confirmation, or just exit the position, take the loss, whatever that is, and then maybe enter later when we have better prices. I think this is right now is probably the better strategy to be like extremely flexible with all this. And I think if this plays out, we have in the cards the out season that I'm gonna walk you through some charts right now. And I think just one more thing that I want to show you, that the most painful scenario for everybody pretty much that is out of position will be if we just don't even pull back. Like if we get like a sort of consolidation here, maybe some bullishness again from Trump, this could send us very easily. And I could see this, because as I said, we already saw that here, we already saw it here, and maybe potentially we see it here. So I wouldn't completely disregard this scenario. And you see, like, through the whole video that I'm making, there are so many outcomes and unknowns right now that you need to be prepared, and you need to sit down and write down all those plans and be like, okay, if this happens, that this is what I'm going to do. I'm pretty much walking you through this with the video, but just for your sake as well. Like if you have charts that you're monitoring, just do this, because it's going to get spicy for sure. And if we don't get this, and this could line up also with a pullback on the S&P, but maybe Bitcoin still continues to show relative strength and we just consolidate here. I think any pullback, little pullback or consolidation, and even a breakout here, I wouldn't think it's a terrible idea, because again, if you're buying something like this, I would consider keeping the stop relatively tight, and then obviously aiming. And then if we go lower, you buy back again, and so on, so on. So you got to be able to do it well and to plan for the sizes that you're going to have here, and if this doesn't play out and so on. Because since you're buying higher and higher, the risk of this going back lower is much higher. So the position sizing must represent the amount of risk that there is on the table right here. And you got to be strict with it. Or maybe, you buy somewhere in here. This could make a little bit more sense, but it's up to you. I'm just, trying to prepare you for all the potential scenarios. So whatever of the bullish scenario plays out, I think there's a high probability that like out season or something like an out season happens. There has been already several coins that have been moving, and funny enough, most of them have been shitcoins. So this entire period of like couple of years, it's been Bitcoin moves and then just shitcoin moves and nothing else moves significantly. so it's been really, really hard. You can see Bitcoin dominance pretty much been going crazy. And technically in the past, I would say, if we have a push in Bitcoin dominance and Bitcoin, breaks significant levels like it has done, then potentially we get a retracement on the dominance chart, which means alts are flying. And maybe, depends. Of course, Bitcoin goes again higher, outperforms them to the downside, but also to the next relief rally that we're gonna have somewhere in the future. We haven't really had a real out season that everybody's dreaming of. I don't think we're gonna get it in the way that people would like to, and everything just goes up infinitely. But we do have markets that are showing already quite a bit of strength, and they could be the outperformers again very easily for this rally that we're seeing right now and the potential higher prices that we might see if the bullish case plays out. One of them was Fartcoin. Obviously, Fartcoin, I think it's also quite extended right now. So maybe it will line up with a nice correction on Bitcoin if you want to enter it. But already this has inflated, and from the bottom it's like 5x or whatever. But I think people are starting to see a Fartcoin and start like looking for the other memes like Fartcoin that could do well. And we have seen rotation in the capital for coins that are somewhere in here. Technically, Fartcoin still looks very bullish. Hasn't broken structure, ran this low here a few days ago, and now banging on to some resistance here. And if this breaks, next target is obviously like all-time highs. But I think there might be more alpha to capture. It's like 60-70% move. The risk technically is 25%. So I wouldn't say this is a great trade to take. Maybe on the lower time frames, like if this breaks and retests, we might see something like this potentially that you could take as a trade, and you'll see this playing out a lot. Like even on Fartcoin, like broke out of this, retested it, another leg higher. Same here, broke out of this, shallower retest, and then continuation higher. Same here, broke out, retested a few times, now potentially continuation higher. So this pattern plays out very well, especially on these like shitcoins. I think they trade quite clean and quite good vehicles for this. And let's just look at some others that could do the same potentially and have started doing the same pretty much. So one of them is Popcat. Popcat had this level reclaim here around 40 cents. Obviously downtrend here. We started breaking it. Just a second. Started breaking it. And then obviously any retracements into here, you can see also like the pullbacks on this have been very shallower as well. Like we didn't even tag this level here, which is, I don't think, a strong support, but this was like the major support around 30 cents. We didn't even get there just because market's been very strong. And obviously now continuing much higher from this little consolidation. But any retracement into this following the same playbook, like every shallow retracement, I think could be a good entry opportunity for this token. Bonk, same. It already played out the correction here. And few runs. I was honestly expecting it to go a little bit lower, but again, I've been quite greedy with my entries recently, and generally speaking, this protects me from like bigger drawdowns and like gives me better risk to reward. But in situations like this where we have strong trending markets, obviously it has played a little bit against me, because technically on the lower time frames on Bonk, there has been an entry here. You could see clearly that the trend has been strong, and we have not even revisited this low here that we created, and obviously it's been respecting this, turning into support, this level around here. So very, very strong. Again, bonk at a inflection zone here. So maybe potentially similar to Fartcoin. We see some consolidation or continuation higher here, but pretty much the same exact pattern. Another one that's popping out, AI 16Z. I'm seeing some movement also in this. Again, on the weekly, you could see it's been this is the area to potentially get a retracement from. But if we get like the retracement maybe into here, I think again this could be a buy just because of the strength that it has shown from the bottom, and clearly it has shifted structure, which is the case also with pretty much all the other charts we looked at. So from lower highs, lower lows, we went to higher high, higher low, another higher high, higher low here, now another higher high. So we clearly shifted structure. So any like retracements could be a good potential buy. I don't know if this will outperform or underperform Bitcoin or whatever. You could do this on the Bitcoin pairs and decide which one you want to take. It's a gamble, but I think the chances of these popping a multi-bagger at some point fairly quickly, once people start to get greedy and risk-on environment, we could see easy pops on these smaller ones of several X's fairly quickly. They might even play out now, but if it lines up with a correction on Bitcoin, I think this will be the perfect storm for them to either obviously break structure and go to zero after the push for a lower high that they've had on the weekly, like this one, or potentially the beginning of another leg higher, and I'm saying much higher. Another one is Peanut. This has been very, very strong in the last few days, but pretty much exactly like the same. Old meme, very popular, started shifting. Actually, it just like with this push today starting to break off its structure of the bear structure. So let's see if we get a retracement on this one, or it will just go to infinity. But buying here, I think it's quite risky. I wouldn't do it. There are a few. I'm gonna talk about ordinals in a bit, and most importantly, runes. But I would say be patient here. Maybe you miss a move, but again, I think the risk is still significant that we might go much lower in the long term, and this is just a blip on the radar. So I would be still picky with my entries, but even Peanut, if we get somewhere into here or even shallower into this area that we're breaking out of right now, I think this could be also potential interesting token for much higher. I've been playing around a little bit with this token. It's called the Italian Rot. It's been a huge meme on what is it called, on TikTok. I've been in and out of it. Honestly, not traded great, but the token itself has been trading very clean. And it's been one of the, this is still very low. This is is it even 10 million market cap? I think it's around 9, almost 10 million right now. But I think it's trading very clean, and obviously it's got the mind share. And this looks like a higher consolidation. This is now a blip on the radar, but let me just show you what happened here. Look at this. So we had a push. We had obviously very volatile, but quite significant range consolidation. Then we broke out of it, made a few multiples, and then following exact same thing here. Maybe big consolidation. Now I do have a little position somewhere from here. I would say somewhere here. Yeah, I will cut it if we get below here. But then potentially, if this lines up with the bullish case with the retracement, if it gets back somewhere into here, I think it's a good buy. Or maybe if it shows strength somewhere above here. So again, this is turning out to be like consolidation. I don't know if it would take this long again to break out. If it breaks out, it's super high risk, obviously. But you can see that the chart's been looking clean, and I think it's worth a punt if you find a good entry on this one. So yeah, we went through a lot. There are a few more that I actually wanted to go through. So yeah, what the hell? Let's just do it. Mock is another one that I've been looking at. It's been very strong. Another very old meme, and you can see this just absolute rip from the bottom without on the higher time frames any signals that this is reversing. Just reversed and just went really hard, and now it's just going parabolic. So again, let's see if this gets some kind of a retracement, maybe. Like I generally don't like this one. I actually added to my watch list because I saw it yesterday popping at some resistance level here. I was like, okay, if this forms some kind of a short here, I could short it, but obviously it's been very strong. So I'm not standing in front of this. SUI is another one that from the majors that I'm closely monitoring, because it's been like, this has been a significant outperformer in this entire leg. Like, let's see SUI BTC. Yeah, pretty much outperforming even Bitcoin, and by significant amount from the bottom. So I think this could continue. Solana has lost a little bit of its appeal. We're gonna look at Ethereum as well. Wow, I even forgot about Ethereum. Imagine going through shitcoins before Ethereum. But yeah, I think this one is looking very strong. Let's just go on the USD chart. And this level, I ideally wanted to have a little bit of a cool off. Seems like it did, but again, the pullback was shallower. This was the level I was looking into. Like even we didn't even tag the $3 mark. So very strong here. And obviously now pushing higher through like $4 here. So let's see if we get shallower consolidation again, or we get a deeper pullback with Bitcoin. But this is pretty much getting close to all-time high area, which not many other altcoins can say. Not at all, actually. So this one definitely very strong, and one to watch. And potentially, if you want major exposure and not like just shitcoins that I discussed, I think this could be a very good one. Ethereum, very interesting here. Obviously, this has eaten a lot of shit. I capitulated on my ETH somewhere around 0.8, 1.8. Haven't bought back any, but if this holds like 2K, this could signal, and obviously shows continued strength. Like if we do this, we might get an out season, like the ETH out season, and all the AI and all the other like derivatives of restaking might take off. I doubt it will be all of them, but like the major ones could see some strength. So I would monitor this very closely, because it's been obviously a major catalyst in the past, although a lot of people have been shitting on it. But like the moment everybody shits on something, potentially that's the bottom signal. So I could see this happening, and it's been slightly outperforming Bitcoin in the past like few days, but still the chart versus Bitcoin looks like this. So it's like but the good part is that on this week that we're seeing the pop, Bitcoin is also popping. So it's not like ETH is underperforming while Bitcoin and ETH are moving up. Actually, Ethereum is moving the last couple of days a lot more than Bitcoin. So that's a good sign to see. And we'll see on the USD chart what's going to happen here. But this has been like terrible for trading for the past like months. So let's see. But above 2K looks much better. And if we retrace and kind of have this confirmed as support, I would say this could make an argument also for an ETH trade, but also for an out season on Ethereum trade. Even Pepe, obviously this is just a derivative of Ethereum right now. But the meme has been also doing quite well, also breaking through some structure here and showing strength after like sideways / downward action. Now we have clear shift in structure on the daily, and again, any opportunity to retest this might be a buy. So very long video, guys, but I think it was important to go through the scenarios and the plans, and again, just be cautious with sizing and everything, because I honestly don't know if this will be the top or we'll see continuous strength. But just when everybody gets bullish, I think it's time to slam the brakes, at least temporarily, and then let's see what happens. See you in the next one.